Okay, we're live. So, hi guys, hi everyone, waiting for us, and thank you for joining us today on today's episode. So, we're going to talk about um, working in Canada. So, if you're interested to work in Canada, whether you are in Canada or you're outside Canada, I mean, people come into Canada with permanent residency, but still, you need to get a job, right? So, this session is just to enlighten you and to provide insights if you're interested to work in Canada, whether you're in Canada or outside Canada. So, I have three eagles with me in the house. So, they're going to introduce themselves.
Wow.
So, Marina, you can go first. That's fine.
I'm just a noisemaker. I didn't realize I wasn't muted. I wasn't. Okay, hi everybody. Such a pleasure to be here, Mrs. O. Thank you for having me. My name is Marina Iyeme Etang. I'm on YouTube as Marina Isiri. I'm a noisemaker on social media. I follow. I join my fellow other Nigerians who are just interested in seeing immigrants succeed, especially in Canada and other parts of the world, just to share my voice to that and share what I can to help my fellow people succeed. In Canada, I'm a HR professional by day. I'm a student. I'm a mom. I'm a content creator. I'm a plenty things. I wear many hats. I wear a lot of hats, and I'm just here excited to be here to talk with other egos in the house.
All right. I don't know, Tunde and Olu, who wants to go first?
My Oga Olu, you can go.
Tunde is my Oga. Hi everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you're joining us from. My name is Olu. A few of you call me Olu of Canada on Twitter and on Instagram. Thank you for that honor and for that name. I particularly enjoy providing information to newcomers, to potential immigrants in Canada, especially giving them nothing but the truth to make them, decide their own paths to coming into Canada, integrating into Canada, doing well as an immigrant in Canada. Like I tell people, the opportunities are always there for you to leverage. And we believe, through sessions like this, some of the information we'll be sharing again today would be beneficial to those who are interested in coming to Canada to work.
Yeah.
Well.
Okay.
Thank you, Olu. Marina. My name is Tunde Omotoye. I am a HR professional like Marina as well. I shared during my, my free time, I share a lot of information on social media regarding moving to Canada. And I run a small startup as well that focuses on immigration primarily and also kind of personal branding for people who just recently moved to Canada. So I'm happy to be here, really happy to be among these people to really talk about, working in Canada as somebody who's coming from outside Canada or who just also recently moved to Canada.
Okay, so I'll just jump straight into the first. I don't want to say it's a myth. Do people really secure jobs, like when you're outside Canada, do people really secure jobs in Canada? Because we know a lot of people come in as students, we know a lot of people get their PRs, but when we come to the work aspect, it seems as if people, there is particular set of people that are meant to secure jobs. So are there really people like regular people like regular jobs, not really expatriate positions? Do those kind of people, what are their chances, to get jobs in Canada? I don't know who wants to go first, but I mean.
Yeah, I can dive in. I think you mentioned something when you started about, people who have already gotten PRs, right? We find that people who already have something, right? It could be study permit, it could be PR, it could be whatever it is. They have that high chances because that confidence is there to actually even hit the labor market from outside Canada. Right, I've found people who've gotten jobs in Canada who are permanent residents, who have not yet landed, right? But they've gotten their approvals and they've, started applying, updated their resumes to the city they are going to be living in, right? Download that application that kind of routes an international number that it generates for you to your local number. So they are able to do all that because the confidence is there. I know that I'm moving, right? So these people, when they get interviews, they can talk, they can, it's like I'm already living in that place. I'm just waiting to move there, right? So I find that I've even seen people who've gotten interviews with Uber, with Lyft, with even Twitter in Toronto, right before they move, right? So that for those kind of people is easy. Second set of people, and those are the people you mentioned, that is there a particular sector? Yes. Like the tech sector is a sector that we cannot even compete with where doctors, every other sector can't compete with. Why? Because somebody in Lagos can be working as a tech person without being in Canada yet. Right? For instance, I work in a bank, and we found that majority of the banks actually have 75% of their tech people outside Canada. Wow. So guess what? Majority of the guys that work in this position, say a tech lead, for instance, right? They can, when they are done in most of their roles there, they're like, you know what? I actually want to move to this country where I've been kind of supporting them, and it's easier for them that way. So they just kind of move. And even Olu knows, Marina knows, many people, and even yourself, Mrs. O, many of these tech guys, when they come immediately, job, they don't have to, do so much trouble. But for instance, now a doctor, you have to be physically present. You can't code medical doctor in Nigeria. You have to, be physically here to administer your medicine. So people in that sector are kind of more favored. So I think when you know where you fall, you know that, as a nurse, it might be more difficult for me getting a job from outside the country. I have to be here because majority of your interviews might have to be face-to-face. It can't be digital like you would have it in other sectors, right? Yeah. So, and people who I also find it easiest for when it comes to getting jobs outside the country are, but in our own society, like Nigerians, we haven't started exploring that places yet. And I'll tell you, see, the Chinese restaurants, the Chinese stores, right? These people are even easy. Indian restaurants, like, if they can get LMIA so quickly, they can get jobs from outside the country so quickly. Now, let me think outside the box. A Nigerian creates a very big Nigerian restaurant in downtown Toronto, right? With amala, akpu, everything, right? And they need to hire people that will cook. Guess what? Majority of the people in Canada, like myself, Olu, Marina, yourself, we won't work in such places. Right? Who do they need? They need people who know about the food, who can cook the food, who can speak the lingo, who can talk to the customers. So what do they need? They need to have people from Nigeria or from West Africa. It could be Ghana, it could be anywhere. So that's how those people are able to get jobs. So the more your community is more based in this country, the better for you, right? So for my own, that's like the perspective I see them.
Wow, that's a really nice perspective. And it's true because you see a lot of Chinese restaurants, you see a lot of all those, other countries' restaurants.
Yeah.
So in sectors like agriculture, for example, is there a way do you think, like people outside? I mean, I think what is affecting us is the fact that Nigeria is not known for agriculture. Because I was reading an article where someone says, okay, so even if they are going to be granting LMIA, they will probably grant LMIA to people they know their country for those kind of jobs. So for example, you want to come here, some people say they want to come and pick fruits and they want to do stuff. But if you're a Nigerian applying, I think what affects us is because they don't know your country as, so it doesn't matter what you're putting on your CV saying, I have the experience, this and that. So it has to be something your country is known for. People from Mexico and all of those kind of countries, they easily get those positions. The same thing goes with the home care. I mean, the home care doesn't really require, like if you're doing in, the support program. But then if you're applying as a home care person to just, not the home support program at this point, I think they give it more to the Filipinos and to all those other people because that is what they are known for, right? So, I mean, I don't know how we can help ourselves there, but that's what it is. Okay.
I think just to buttress that, I think the important thing is knowing the skills that are very, very scarce in Canada, the ones that are in demand, and seeing how to position yourself for those opportunities. Like Tunde earlier said, the tech industry is booming very well in Canada right now. I have a relative that came as a PR in February, was meant to do the 14 days quarantine and actually got 2 job offers before finishing the 14 days. So he got a job offer even before getting his SIN. And one of the things I told him before he came was, you are in the tech industry, look for the skills that are very much in demand, that you can do certifications and improve yourself. And there's no 2 ways to it than applying. And when I was talking to him, he said, the 14 days he was spending doing the isolation, he had enough time, he was doing nothing, he was just bombarding them with applications and all that. And in just days, he was getting interviews. And before finishing the 14 day, he got 2 job offers, so he had to settle for one. And these things are there, and the one thing is that you have to know the skills that are in demand, and you have to be ready to put in the work as well. So even though the tech industry, for instance, is booming in Canada, if he decides not to upskill himself or make the applications and all that, he'll probably say, oh, it's just 14 days, maybe when I finish, I'll start doing my resume and all that. And that's time already wasted. And it's very, very helpful for a lot of people. Also, in addition to the skills, is knowing the industries that are, always in demand for workers outside Canada. I think the top 3 industries, from what I've seen, is the tech industry, the health industry, and the agricultural industry. For a lot of people, these are places where, even though if you're not a medical doctor, so as a medical doctor, for instance, that's a regulated profession. Even if you have the skills and all that, you still have to go through the licensing procedure to, get the job and all that. But there are also other health-related fields like the personal support workers. You would always find, opportunities for PSW, people that, can support people in long-term care and other care houses and all that. And those opportunities are always there. The agricultural industry, like Mrs. O mentioned, is also one of it. You would always see experiences in need in these industries, and also areas like truck driving and all that. So for the truck driving, for instance, there's always job. How many truck drivers are in Nigeria? How many people have the certifications and everything that need to get the job? And those are the industries they really recruit people from outside Canada. The fundamental thing to take note of when it comes to work permits and job offers is that the employer has to prove to the government that they've looked for someone within Canada to do the job and they couldn't find that person. They've advertised a position for at least 90 days, and then they have to also get the labor market impact assessment document, which is the document basically showing that, we've looked for someone within Canada, we couldn't find someone, this is the justification for recruiting someone outside Canada. So if that's something you're looking out for, and you have to distinguish yourself, you have to position yourself as someone who has the unique skills that are not readily available in Canada.
Yeah, I couldn't have put that any better, Olu. And just to piggyback on what you said, to add a few points to that, depending on the industry that you think you fall in, sometimes the problem is where you're looking. If you're not in tech and you are looking to find a job from outside Canada and your target is the Ontarios, the Calgarys, the Vancouvers, you might be setting yourself up to fail. So if you're not in tech where you're heading for a particular hub, it might help you to look at the smaller provinces, the smaller cities, these colder cities. That's where the actual labor shortages are. So if you really want to plug in and take advantage of employers who have a hard time filling certain positions, it's those kind of cities you want to be looking at, the smaller places where people would typically not navigate towards. That's where labor shortages are. And the chances that you'll be able to find a job outside of tech in places like that is higher.
Yeah, and even most people just go for the popular employers that we all know in Canada. I mean, there are small employers that nobody wants to work with them here in Canada, probably because the pay is low or the location. So if people can make a list of all those kind of small, employers and start reaching out to them, I'm sure they wouldn't mind bringing you into Canada, because you're the only one who is signifying interest to work with them. So I'll just jump into the next question. So what's the hiring process for folks, that are currently not in Canada from the HR point of view? So, it's HR, every organization has the HR that recruits for the employer, right? So what are the things they look at to tell the company that, okay, we have to go for this person, whether or not they stay in Canada, we need this person?
Does Marina want to go, or can I go? Okay, no, okay, I'll go. So Olu rightly touched on that. It's the LMIA, right? So what happens is for employers, they have to, apply for LMIA and also for the work permit. So you're applying ESDC, you're sending LMIA application to ESDC, you're sending what's it called, your work permit to IRCC, right? But however, they must have gone through that process of they've tried. You must be able to prove that nobody in Canada wants to do that work or is able to do that work, right? Before you can now start following the HR process. Oh, we also have external candidates from outside Canada who have applied. Then you begin the recruitment process, right? They will do the normal interview, speak with you, if digital, of course, through Zoom or whatever platform that they choose to use. And after they find the person eligible and the person have accepted the offer and all that, then they apply to ESDC. So ESDC has a couple of criteria that you must follow as the employer. They even do checks, right? I think they even go physically to the office, check all that. Yeah, they do. You must show the application, that's the job bank application that you posted online. You must show the people that you interviewed. You must show the skills to show that, okay, this person will interview them, but this is where they fell short. So you must do all that. So by the time you do all that and ESDC approves that, okay, yes, this person actually has done the due diligence, then they approve. Then IRCC sees that, okay, this person has gotten the right approval that they need, and they approve it. So the work permit approval goes to that person, the employee, and then the ESDC, the LMIA goes to the employer, right? So that's like the typical process. And if an employer falls short and they kind of mess up, or there's one mago somewhere, let me use that word if I'm allowed to, they get fined, they get blacklisted, there's a list, and I think they get fined maybe up to $100,000. Yes, I think $100,000 or thereabout, or maybe 10,000. Figures around that.
Employers don't like doing this process.
Exactly. And then the employee, if there's misrepresentation somewhere and they find out, you get banned for I think 5 years, right? And you also get fined money as well. So that's like the due process that I see. Olu kind of rightly touched on it, so I just kind of expanded a little bit.
Yeah, but there are some jobs that are LMIA exempted. So
yes, thank you very much.
Outside the country also, focus on those type of jobs. So, but what are the kind of jobs that are? I know, for example, someone coming here to do a postdoc after a PhD is LMIA exempted.
Correct.
And recently, or not so recently, the home support care person also.
Yeah, LMIA exempt.
Are there other LMIA exempted jobs that people should, kind of be targeting?
Let me add before I think Olu wants to go, but let me add quickly. I've forgotten what they call them, but there's this job that falls under like around 6 months job that are just very short term jobs. So those jobs also kind of are LMI exempt because they know that you're just coming quickly and just do whatever you want to do and go back. Because we have some people that come from like Hungary, the country called Hungary. There are some factories that hire them for like short term production, all these sausage factories, right? And they kind of have planned. The project management will have planned all their production and say, okay, we just need these folks for like 6 months. They just come in and go out. So no LMI is in there for such kind of jobs.
I think in addition to that, it also depends on the type of work permit you are applying through. That's very, very important. Generally under the temporary foreign worker program, which a lot of people outside Canada would be eligible for, you would need a job offer and an LMIA to apply for that. But there are other different types of work permit categories that are available in Canada. If it's an open work permit, if it's an employer-specific work permit for francophone applicants, people applying from countries like Cameroon, where French is the language they speak there and all that. Or if you're applying under the International Experience Canada program. Keep in mind, there's one thing I tell people all the time. When it comes to applying for any immigration program in Canada, there are 3 boxes you need to tick. Number 1 is the interest. I'm interested in the work permit, fine. Number 2 is the eligibility. In Canada, we tell people there are more than 100 immigration programs, different routes, different requirements, different expectations and all that. Then check the specific requirements or criteria of the particular program you're applying to. If you find out that you want to apply for a work permit and you are only eligible under the temporary foreign worker program, then there's no way you can dodge that. You have to get the LMIA, depending on, irrespective of the type of job you're coming to do in Canada. That's very, very important. The third aspect is the financial aspect of these things. So one of the reasons why a lot of organizations and companies also find it challenging to recruit people outside Canada is because the LMIA document we mentioned would still cost them something as well. They pay about $1,100 to get all the paperwork in and get the approval and all that. So if they realistically think the skills you have are not something that is worth that significant investment that they have to make out of it. And it's not something you can pay yourself. The rules are the rules. The companies themselves have to pay for that. So those are the things to also additionally keep in mind. But like Tunde and Mrs. O said, there are opportunities that are LMIA exempt. If you have a PhD, you want to come for a postdoc, you do not need an LMIA for that. If you're coming for a job that is just short term, not long term, 6 months, you do not need an LMIA for that as well.
Okay, and something else I was going to say. Regarding payment of the LMIA fees, so like you rightly said, it's done by the employer. So how about the work permit application? So after they get the LMIA, are they supposed to give you the LMIA and then you apply for a work permit? Or because I get a lot of people say, oh, we got a job and they're asking us to pay this so amount for LMIA. And then I become confused that the company is supposed to pay LMIA. I don't even know about applying for the work permits. Is the person supposed to pay or is it the company that is supposed to pay?
For that, it could go either ways. There's no law binding, you to not pay for a work permit application. That's made directly to the IRCC.
Yeah.
But in most instances, the employers would also offer to support you or make a refund to you after the application has been done. Because if they've made a significant investment in getting an LMIA, paying for it and all that, the work permit application fee would not be an issue.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Like you said.
So, but what can people do differently? Like, is there any kind of resources or assistance? Like, are there recruiting agencies that people can, register with to help them secure jobs in Canada? Sometimes I heard there are international recruitment agencies that people can, a lot of people search for jobs on Indeed and all that, but working with a professional can give you a bigger advantage. So do you think, would you recommend people who are searching for jobs to go through this recruitment agents? And if yes, are there any fees that are paid to these people that are legal fees, for processing this, or is it illegal? Like once you see anybody say pay, is that a fake signal for you to start running, or how does it work?
Well, I'll say yes. Starting from the last question, if you see money, I think money should always be like, a signal to you that, okay, what am I paying for? Am I supposed to pay for this, right? Do other people charge for this? An international recruiter has his own finder's fee from the employer, first of all. So he's not supposed to be charging me, right, to find work. And I think it's even illegal actually, it is illegal by law, by immigration law, to pay somebody to find you a job in Canada, right? It's illegal. So if anybody says pay, then you know that, okay, that's actually a red flag. And yes, there are recruitment agencies, and many of these LMIA processes, most of these companies they don't have the capacity to actually start looking for people themselves if they've gone through the whole recruitment process of not finding somebody in Canada, right? So they would rather contract it to recruitment agencies. For instance, there are a lot of them, but let me mention the top two. And I'm sorry I have to talk about tech again. The top two in Canada are TCS and Polaris. Polaris is now called Vetusa. So these people are the people recruiting for banks in Canada when it comes to like tech positions, right? So, for instance, let me just hypothetically, there's a bank called Nigerian Bank in Canada that wants to build a tech platform, right? And they need some people, and they want it from people outside the country. But Vetusa will be the platform to hire those folks. It's not that Nigerian bank, right? So they will contract it to them. So knowing those legit organizations that would help is where many people find it. And I also find that many people don't really want to do the research. They don't want to, calm down and really say, okay, this portal, this particular agency, this is what they need. I have to create a profile with them. I have to maybe even put a call through to them and talk to them. I am not presently in Canada. I am in this country. Do I have any chance at all? Does your company recruit for this or that? I'm in this industry. I think when you start to have such communication, then okay, these people, I don't have to deal with them. Don't let me waste my time. But having like 200 information in front of you and, just throwing, like you are trying to pick your luck, it doesn't work that way, right? I know.
Yeah, and sorry, I'm cutting you short. To create a profile with these people, it's even free, right? You don't even have to pay to.
Exactly. It's free. You know, you have Drake International. I think Drake International is in Toronto. You have a couple of them like that. You have Michael Page, you know, and I think you even have one that's actually even called International Recruitment. Do you get? So these people are really focused on helping companies. Okay, so another thing is ESDC actually also allocates LMIA by quantity to some industries, right? So many of these agencies know the particular industry and companies that have, okay, they know that, okay, this company has 20 LMIA to fill. They've already allocated it to them, but they've not used it yet. Okay, who are the people you are looking for? Okay, I can help you source out for those people. But guess what? If you don't go to the recruitment agent, are they going to look for you in your house? Exactly not. Exactly. So that's my own view.
Well, so there's definitely an advantage going through the. I mean, it's even free. You don't have anything to lose.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
And just to add something to what Sunday said, you know, you miss all the chances you do not take. You know, this thing is not costing you anything. If that's what you are interested in, you've settled in that. It's the work permit process that I want to go through. You know, there are so many resources online that can even help you prepare your application, shape your resume, you know, prepare it to the Canadian standard, do a search of the skills that are in demand, the certifications they need in this industry. With COVID now, I think it's also a blessing in some ways because a lot of these certifications are now things you can do online, you know, right from your home country and all that would increase your chances of landing a job offer even outside Canada. In addition to that, these agencies, you would even see some of them that when they recruit you, they are even ready to pay back whatever cost you've incurred on the certification and all that, if it's something they really, really need. So this is an investment you are making in yourself, you know, that is really, really worth it. And just to add, one other organization I know that has been really, really helpful, especially for people in the tech industry, is Van Arc. I've seen a lot of Nigerians that have gotten tech role from outside Canada, right from Nigeria through Van Arc. I think their Twitter handle is Go Van Arc or something like that. VANHACK. You can just do a Google search. You will see they have a YouTube profile. They have Twitter presence. They have Instagram presence. You will see Nigerians that have landed opportunities through them as well.
Yeah, like you said, this is an investment. So it doesn't matter what your background is. If you really want to come to Canada to work and your background doesn't fit in, I mean, you can take courses, you know, in tech or whatever that sells and then upskill and, you know, give yourself the opportunity to come into Canada. Marina, do you want to say anything on that?
Well, yeah, I'm very excited to hear about all these legitimate agencies that are helping people do this the right way. But then there's the flip side of the many agencies that are out there that are feeding people crappy information. And it totally just brings me to what Tunde and Olu have already talked about, which is the place of research. That's what I find is missing with a lot of people who want to get jobs, especially from Nigeria. Like, we need to first start to learn how to undo that mindset of, I just want to pay somebody to do this for me. That's why we still have a lot of fraudulent agents out there. If you would just take the time, I mean, you're moving from one country to a different country. Why are you not interested in learning how things work in this country you're going to? Like, how do you even want to succeed where you're going to if you're not going to take just the inconvenience of learning and researching how things are done, the proper processes? Because that's the reason why somebody would send you a job offer. It's from XYZ company, but it's on Government of Canada letterhead paper. Like, that's supposed to be a flag. How does that make any logical sense? You know, people are capitalizing on the fact that people are not reading. People are desperate. You just want to give somebody money, chill, and then your passport will just fly. You just pack your bag, you just land. That's the end. You know, it doesn't work that way. If you want to really get these things the right way, you should be able to put in the work, put in the research, and be sure that you're getting information from the right places. If it's very convenient, if somebody in Nigeria is telling you that I can give you this thing within 2 weeks, first question you should ask them, so Benny, why are you still here? If it's in 2 weeks, why have you not moved your bag, sir? Help me understand. So people just need to really, the first step in immigrating from your country to wherever you're going to, I feel the first step is research and planning. Sit down and ask yourself questions. Why exactly do I want to do what I'm doing? What do I need to do to get this process from point A to point B? Put in the work, put in the research. Like right now, I almost do not feel sorry anymore for people who fall prey to fraudulent agents. I'm like, no, with all the information that's free on YouTube, on Twitter, on Instagram, everywhere, like you have no excuse. It means you didn't Google. Because if you Google fake agents, chances are you will see Tunde's Twitter handle or Olu's Twitter handle or one of my YouTube videos. It's not possible that one Google search will not show you something. So if you're still falling prey, it means you have not done any search yourself. And at the end of the day, you have yourself to blame for that.
Yeah. Like before we went on live, I was discussing with Marina how people don't have money when it comes to hiring like regulated
professionals.
And once it comes
when
to
you recommend,
there's money.
There's money. Honestly, there's money because you can't say, "Oh, a licensed consultant is too expensive." They went to school, they took IRCC, they bought the camp, they paid tuition. Then is the what do you call the SOJs? Then somebody will just promise you visa in 2 weeks. Suddenly, that money will come out. So who are we fooling? Like, call him and die, call him and bury him. That's what's going on, really.
Yeah.
But really, would you guys recommend people to take the route of coming into Canada to work? Because the truth is, coming into Canada to work, you don't need to show proof of fund, right? I'm right. You don't need to show proof of fund when you are applying because
no, you don't. Yeah, you don't.
And not everybody has the funds to, do the PR route because you need settlement funds, and not everybody has the money to pay tuition. So, do you think it's something you would recommend for, like, if you're willing to upskill, for you to go through that route and do what is, what it takes?
Okay, let me quickly add. I think personally for me though, right, it's two takes. So one, if you're a very research-oriented person, like most of everything we've been saying now, when it comes to working in Canada, it depends on research. It depends on you being deliberate. It depends on you doing the work and knowing that, okay, this is where I can get this kind of work. This is the industry I fall under. If you know that you're that kind of person, go for it. However, if you know that you aren't, you just rather do the normal process that is kind of general. That should be like your list, right? That should be like your list option, right? You should start with the normal FSW, the Popular Express Entry, PM, then study, then okay, all chips are down, all this didn't work, then work, right? That's my own personal opinion.
I think just to add to that, I think the first thing you have to do is to assess your own situation. When you assess your situation and look at what you can realistically do. And that's why I talk about the 3 Ps. You have to plan ahead, assessing your situation, planning. If you're looking for a work permit, for instance, then it would likely not be someone who wants to get to Canada in the next 2 months. Let's be realistic. And these are like Marina said, you have to take the desperation out of it. These are the things that the SOJs leverage on. They tell you fast, free, easy. What again? I can't remember.
Accommodation and food and vacation benefits.
Exactly. Accommodation, flights, and everything.
Everything's sorted.
If it sounds too good to be
really
true, then you have to, take caution and assess the situation yourself as well. It's not impossible to come to Canada on a work permit, but you have to be ready to put in the work. One thing I also generally tell people is that when it comes to Canadian immigration, you have to plan, you have to follow the due process, you have to be patient. You can't escape these things. These are the basic things, which are very, very important and which you have to take note of. If you're coming for a work permit, you have to put in the work. I generally tell people that moving to Canada is not something you can simply tell someone, add money to someone and they'll tell you your visa will be ready in 2 weeks. Whether it's PR, whether it's study, whether it's work permit, whether it's provincial nominee program, whatever route you want to take, there are some things you have to do yourself. You can't outsource that, even to a licensed immigration representative or a law firm or anything. There are things they will still tell you, and these people would also tell you, if they have been truthful, that no one can guarantee the outcome of your visa application except the visa officer. No one, because they don't make the decision. That's why they can't give you any guarantee. They can guide you. They can make sure you're doing things the right way. They can provide the right information to you at the right time. but ultimately the final decision is in the hands of the visa officer. So if someone is telling you 100% guaranteed, in Canadian immigration, I never see that kind of thing before. 100% guaranteed, free accommodation, free flights. You just send your resume and 2 passport photographs. Your visa will be ready in 2 weeks. Whatever variation of these things you've heard, anytime you hear something like that, just dust your slippers and run away from them, because that's not how it works.
All right. Marina, do you want to say something?
Well, Tony and Olu pretty much said everything. With these processes, there are no shortcuts. There's no back door. Like with immigration, see, I don't know how people really think about these things, but I think about myself. I think about how it was my family moving here, and I'm wondering, so if somebody had given me fake everything, fake documentation, do you really think you will now come into this country and be able to sleep with your 2 eyes closed? What if 2 years down the line, this fraud is discovered and come and knock on your door? Will you be confident enough to bring out the documentation and say, yes, this is what I submitted and I can stand by it? So I feel like having to do the back door is even too risky for you as an individual. I don't know who has succeeded doing this the wrong way, but are you not worried that down the line, 5 years down the line, you would have left Nigeria for 5 years, you don't have a job, you have sold your property, and then one day Canadian immigration just gets up and say, we uncovered the fraud, go back to your country. What are you going back to? Does it not scare you? All these people that now say, give me 2 million and I'll give you this, and you too, you give them the money, because all of us, Canadian processes are stupid. All the processes talk to each other. You can't cheat one and get away somewhere else. They all talk. So no matter how hard it is, I understand it's getting harder for people. They really want to leave. You just want options. But you need to be able to separate desperation from the situation. That's the only way you would come up with logical ways to do things. Question it. We need to put our curiosity back to test. Question these things. If it doesn't make sense, if it's too good to be true, like Olu said, chances are it's actually not true. So yeah, let's just put in what you need to put in, do the work, but do it the right way. No, there's no shortcut with Canadian immigration.
And before we move on, I'm just going to add something to what Marina said. IRCC does not forget to.
Never.
They never forget. I'm going to be honest with you. It could take years before they discover it.
Absolutely.
I have seen someone who has already even, the person became a Canadian citizen. And lost it after 14 years of staying in Canada. 14 years. They can, if they do not have sufficient evidence against you yet, they will take their time to build up their case and everything. And in Canada, you cannot build something on nothing.
Exactly.
If you come in on a work permit and you ended up using that to become a PR and a citizen, if years later they found out that it was the work permit that was fraudulent in some ways, they can make an application to, revoke your citizenship, because you built your PR.
Revoke everything you built on that fraud.
So you can't build something on nothing, which is very, very important. And at the end of the day, when this happens, the people who misled you, into doing what you should not have done, they've moved on with their own life.
They've gone already.
They are gone already. And that's what I tell people, that if you lose money to SOJ, go to church or mosque and do Thanksgiving. It's only money you've lost. If SOJ leads you down the path of getting a, inadmissibility rule, which is a 5-year visa ban and all that, SOJ will simply move on to the next victim. And for people watching us that are wondering who SOJ is, that's just the name I used to refer to, fraudulent agents and unlicensed immigration representatives in Canada. So you have to be mindful of this, that IRCC does not forget. It could take years down the line, and at that point, what you would lose at that point would be more than what the price you have to pay for doing things the right way.
Okay, so let's talk about those that are already in Canada, but they have no Canadian work experience, and how best they can get their foot into the door. How best can immigrants thrive in their careers when they are here? We get a lot of people coming here and switching careers and all that, because we want to go with the trend that seems to be successful. So yeah, do people really have to start afresh when they come to Canada, or is there a way you can just integrate and continue to move on?
Yeah. So it's quite difficult, first of all, moving into a new place where it's different. You are putting in applications, you've gone 20, 50, no interviews, nothing, because it happens for most people like that. However, I think it goes back to what we've been saying, the research, right? What city am I going to? What do I have? Who am I? What's my qualification? Right? What industry am I in? Am I a human resources person? Is there a certification in that country that I have to, get, or in that city? Right? I've seen folks who are certified as human resources in the UK, CIPD, but they came to Canada and then they realized that, okay, my CIPD is really not recognized here. It's a good to have in Canada. It's a good to have on my resume, but I have to get the equivalent of certification in Canada, right? And then they, take that time to say, what, let me kind of do this part-time job. In most cases, you find people doing customer care. And trust me, Canada is not judgmental, right? For me, primarily, I did factory jobs. I was packing sausages in cold rooms. It did not kill me. I didn't die, right? I used that to work my way to get my certification, and then kind of found my footing back into the corporate world. Right? I found that a lot of people have done this. However, it doesn't mean if you land, you can't get a job immediately. For instance, look at our Olu's family member who used 2 weeks to do interviews and got 2 offers within 2 weeks in quarantine, right? Why? Because he's been aware, he's been informed. These are the tech skills, these are the organizations, this is the industry you are in that is really booming. These are the places you should apply. So doing that, would really help. And another thing is, for a lot of people, it might sound hard, but a lot of people have to kind of go back to get it, just to do like a 6-month short program in school, just to kind of add to that their qualification. Like for instance, the guys in the banking industry, right? The banking industry in back home is also different from the banking industry here, right? Very similar, yes, but you might need like, for instance, a security certificate, right, in the banking industry for you to be able to do some certain jobs, right? And we found that people come here. So what do they do? They go back to the school part-time so that they can do these courses. And some of these courses are 8 months. And the good thing again is, and from research you will understand, as a permanent resident, you don't pay as much as an international student. So that should even, keep your mind at rest. And there's OSAP there. And OSAP has the loan aspect and the grant aspect. In many cases, guess what? The grants they give you can cover the school fees. It's if you now want to do now say, yes, let me take the loan that you don't need, right? In many cases, people don't even need that loan. They don't take it. So they just, just give me the grant. I take the OSAP grant and I use it to pay my school fees. Win-win for me. I get my certificate. I'm able to go back into the labor market to kind of apply aggressively, right? So it really depends on the person's case, right? Your experience, your qualification, what city are you located? For somebody that is in tech that already has all the certifications and find himself in like a Toronto, a Vancouver, a Kitchener-Waterloo, and Ottawa, no problem. You don't even need to be watching this, right? But for somebody in a different sector, the banking, the administrative, HR, public policy, all those kind of areas, right? Health, you have to kind of do your research and really understand before you can really. So it's really peculiar. It's by the person. Right, but if we can now look at industry specific, then we can now generalize.
I think just to add to what Tunde said, one of the things I've been telling people recently is that even before you come to Canada, make sure you have a career plan. Don't wait until you come to Canada before you now start thinking of, what do I need in this industry and all that. Honestly, I don't want to say you're already late, but you can still catch the last bus and start from somewhere. But that's very, very important. Whether you come into Canada to study or as a permanent resident or even on a work permit, because even when you come here on the work permit, you probably still want to progress in your career. You don't want to remain in maybe the same job and all that. You want to do something better. The essence for a lot of people who come here as immigrants is to do well for themselves economically in their career and all that. And that's why when you look at the Canadian immigration program itself, 60% of immigrants come in as economic immigrants. So it's very, very important to have a career plan for yourself. Know the industries you are interested in. If you have to make a switch, don't wait. If you have to go back to school, And this happens a lot. And that's one very, very fantastic thing about countries like Canada. Age is really a barrier. You can be 45 or 50. You've spent 10, 15 years in a profession from back home. You came here and you're like, this is what I want to do. If you go to school, you see 50-year-olds, even Canadians, after they've done, years of experience in a particular career path. People change their career path. People, realize later in life that this is what they want to do. Do all you have to take. Go to school back as soon as possible. Leverage on the opportunities that are available. If you're a PR, like Tunde said, for instance, it's not only in Ontario where there is OSAP. All provinces have their student loan programs. They have the grants and the loan aspect. The grants alone is something. The tuition alone is 3 or 4 times lesser than what an international student will pay if you're a PR. The opportunities are there for you. And nowhere or nobody would ask you when you're applying for a position and say, oh, because you're 45, you cannot apply for this job.
Yeah.
So
I think a lot of people dwell on their age. They're like, yes, I was talking to my husband and we're looking at, some people that come in here. I'm 35, I'm 40. I can't go back to undergraduate. I can't go back to do diploma now. And you keep searching for jobs. And someone that has gone back to school will come out and get a position. And you're still hustling for 5 years, doing things that I don't know, know. So, yeah.
There's a quote I saw on Twitter recently that says, if you want to go for a 3-year program, and you're saying because you're 35 now, you don't want to go because you'll be 38 by the time you finish. Whether you go for the program or not, in 3 years' time, you'll be 38.
You'll still be 38.
Whether
Absolutely.
You like it or not.
I just had this conversation with exact conversation with somebody recently. Whether you do or you don't, time is still going to pass. To go back to the question and to just add to what Tunde and Ola have already said, do immigrants always have to start from scratch? Not necessarily. Do immigrants always have to go back to school before they can get a job? Not necessarily. It totally depends on you. You now know where you're going. Mm-hmm. It's advisable for you to do like your own skills analysis. What do I already have? Mm-hmm. In this place that I'm in, what is needed? And compare both. What is missing? That's how you decide what to go and study in school. Because in saying, oh, you have to go back to school, what I find is happening now is people just learn and they're like, which program can I take? Oh, business analysis is happening here. I'm going there. Project management is happening. I'm going there. Like when you put all this training that you're trying to take together, where is it pointing to? Mm-hmm. So at the end of the day, you should go to school with the end goal in mind. Mm-hmm. You must be intentional about the kind of programs that you're taking. Because I know a number of people who have come here, they were able to get the grants, they were able to get the loans, but they took programs in areas that I'm wondering, like, where exactly do you intend to work with this certification when you're done? They're like, yeah, but I could get a grant, so I went. It's not just about being able to get a loan or get a grant. What are you going to do with the qualification? Because if you go and spend 3 years going to school because, yes, I should go to school, but after 3 years, you can't do anything with what you have studied. You have wasted the time. You wasted your time, you wasted your money, you wasted resources, you wasted everything. Mm-hmm. So you need to be intentional about what exactly am I trying to get from this education? Mm-hmm. What gap am I trying to fill with this training that I'm getting? What skills are missing? What do I need to do to get these skills that are missing to put me in a better competitive position? In the last 6 weeks, I've had at least 4 people who are subscribers to my channel that have been communicating with via email that have been able to get jobs. It's still a pandemic. They have been able to get jobs. They landed in Canada within the last 2 months. They have been able to get jobs. 2 of them got manager positions without Canadian experience, without Canadian education. Because we went through that process. Like, what is missing? What do you need? How do you position yourself? And for goodness sake, immigrants, stop downplaying your experience from where you're coming from. Stop downplaying your experience. Sometimes it's just nomenclature that's different. Some things are just called different names, but the content of the skills, the content of the work is the same thing. Don't come with the mindset of my experience is not recognized, so I'm just going to pretend like I don't have experience. No, stop doing that. You're shortchanging yourself. So look at it. Look at the content of the work you have done as against using job titles. So if the position you are seeing is whatever manager and you didn't have manager, but the content of the work you've done is the same, apply for it. Position yourself. At the end of the day, it's about the skills that you can transfer, not necessarily about certification. Our certifications may not be recognized, But nobody is going to downplay the fact that I'm an excellent communicator. Excellent communicator in Nigeria is excellent communicator in Canada. You don't need training to go and be an excellent communicator. It's a skill you can transfer. So look at the skills that are relevant, both where you're coming from and where you're going to, and leverage on that. So you don't downplay every other experience you've had, because really, regardless of the struggle that we had with education back in Nigeria, our education has value. If not for anything, the resilience that it teaches you, the resilience that Nigerian education teaches you, the resilience that being in a Nigerian workplace where labor laws don't necessarily protect people like that. If it's only the resilience you can transfer, it's a transferable skill that has value here. So analyze your skills. Don't downplay anything. Tear it apart and pick the skills that you can transfer and make sure you're transferring it to the right roles. And really, when you get in the door, there's almost no stopping you. Yeah. That's what I'll add to that.
Okay, so we'll just be wrapping up, and I'll just want you guys to, we've said a lot of things. So just in summary, what do you advise, people who are intending workers, whether they are in Canada or they are outside Canada, not necessarily in Nigeria, any part of the world? So what would you say to this kind of people, whether for those who have the skills that are required in Canada and those, I saw somebody asking a question about how about people who are unskilled, how can they come into Canada? So those kind of people. So what do you say to them?
I think I can start with that. Even for people one thing I tell people is that there are opportunities for almost everyone in Canada. 100 programs, different requirements, different expectations. There's something for everyone. Finding what is applicable to you might be the work you have to do yourself. Even for people that are not skilled immigrants, there's a federal skilled trades. And these are trades. This is a program that is available for, artisans, people who do blue-collar jobs and all that. There are also jobs that are not regarded as skilled jobs in countries like Nigeria that, you can still use even for the express entry in a country like Canada, like being a baker, for instance, being a chef, for instance. These are things that even under the National Occupational Classification, they are still regarded as skilled job in Canada. The opportunities are there. The big question I've been asking people is that immigration will continue to be a thing in Canada for a very long time.
Yeah.
The statistics are evident. The landmass, Canada has the second largest landmass in the world. The population is very low. The aging population, the retiring baby boomer workforce, the shortage of skilled workers in critical sectors, the impact of immigrants. Immigrants are doing exceedingly well in Canada, which is an encouragement. And if you've been paying attention to what the Honorable Minister of Immigration has been saying recently, he has been hammering on it. Even with the pandemic, Canada is still ready to open its doors to immigrants. The big question, however, is, are you the immigrant Canada is looking for? That's the question you have to ponder on and see how you can strategically position yourself to tap into the opportunities are already available. Finding what you are eligible for, what you qualify for, and being ready to put in the work to get that is now in your own hand.
Yeah. So okay, before you go, so a lot of these unskilled people, for example, the home support workers program that also do not require LMIA. So how best do you think people can get these positions, getting into people's family? Does it work with just, if you know a family in Canada, if you have a family friend, or you just have to apply like every other applicant?
So there was a portal I shared one time. It's for families that look for nannies, home care and all that. So what happens is they are able to sponsor, because it also works like somebody has to say that, okay, yeah, you're going to work in my house, or you're going to be one taking care of this person. So if I can remember that portal, I think is My Nanny Canada or something like that. I can definitely share with you, Miss O, and then you can share with the community as well. So that place, you can filter by employers or families looking who are ready to sponsor, right? In that area, you want to also do your own research and see, okay, Do I have the qualifications these people are looking for, the skill set? What is even required as somebody that is coming as either, taking care of the elderly or the PSW or whatever route it is? What is required? Do I have it? Because all these things have eligibility criteria. It might be 2 years experience that you've done, or maybe 1 year in this area, 1 year in this area. You can add it. You have to check all those ones as well. But I'll share that link with you. So, but my final advice to anybody looking to come to Canada is that, like Olu rightly said, there are over 80 pathways to come into Canada. You have your self-employed. We have people in Nigeria that are running, or even Africa, running their own businesses themselves, right? All you need to show is you have to show that, okay, you've actually been able to do a business, you have a business plan, all those kind of, and these things, again, they have their own eligibility criteria. How long have you been doing it? And does your employment or does your self-employment fall under that category of jobs that they're looking for, right? So knowing all those kind of pathways and knowing where you fall under, if every other process doesn't work out, will really, really help you. And again, your research. Nobody can promise you anything. If anybody in your country is telling you, I'll take you to Canada in 2 months, tell them, let them go and come back. Tell them to go and come back. We've seen cases where somebody got to the airport at Muritala presenting something and he couldn't travel because he paid over 800,000 naira in Nigeria, and they gave him a permanent resident card. If you had done your research, you would understand that a permanent resident card is not issued outside Nigeria. It's issued in Canada. Rather, outside Canada, it's issued in Canada. It's never sent to a non-Canadian address. So knowing that alone will let you understand, oh, this thing is actually fraudulent. So your research, understanding you as a person, where you fall under will also really help you. And thank you so much for this. I think this was very fun. We should actually have more of this.
Oh, sure. Marina and Femi has been here. I think you've been here, Marina, once, right?
Yes, with the other moms.
He's a host like me. So.
Nice.
Okay, Marina, you'd go.
Well, my final thoughts would be your dreams are valid. If the move to Canada is something that you want, it's a valid move. You don't have to feel any form of guilt that you feel a need to move from where you are to this country. But like everybody has said, there's a lot of research that's needed. There's a lot of planning that's needed. There's a lot of unlearning that's needed. There's a lot of mindset switch that you need. And if you're ready to go through all the way through the process, through the front door, you would succeed here. Because really, I feel like the immigration process is the first test of how well you succeed in Canada. If you fail at that process, fail at doing the research, fail at double checking the information you get, fail at being able to even pick up your phone and put a call through to say, hey, can you confirm that this is correct? You will struggle here because technically everything that happens here revolves around research and doing things on your own. So if you're not able to start that, you're going to struggle. And really, at the end of the day, what would be the point? Getting up from your career, leaving your country, moving away from your family, leaving the street food that we all miss. You now come here to come and fail. Like, no, come on, no. So put in the work. If that's what you really need, go ahead.
Yeah, I'll just look at, I saw this question. This person says, getting a job and a permit automatically qualifies my spouse to go with me. It does, right? I'm just going to show you here.
I'm going to add something quickly to that. When you get a job and a permit, it's for you alone.
Yes.
But that would qualify your spouse to also apply under other categories.
Yep.
As a temporary foreign worker, it just applies like being an international student in Canada.
Yep.
They can now use that, as an opportunity to apply for open work permit or visitors record for the kids and all that. But your own job and permit is not
for you.
It's not community permit. It doesn't apply to everyone.
Okay. Okay. So this person says, "What are the resources online that can help me structure my resume to the Canadian standard?"
One quick hack to one quick hack.
Before Tunde will even answer the question, guys, Tunde posts a lot of these things. I see you post, in fact.
We all do.
I don't even know where you get all those information from, but for all of this, I know you've posted a lot of. So if you need any practical, information, Tunde does that. So on Instagram, on Twitter, Tunde, what's your handle? Say it so that they can hear.
Oh, it's Tunde Tash. It's just Tunde and the
Tunde Tash, yes. So
yes.
all of these things, questions you're asking, you can get them there. And yeah.
Thank you.
Go ahead.
And, yeah. So one quick hack to this is for the Canadian standard is if you create an Indeed profile, right, and you kind of create a resume, because Indeed creates a resume for you, right? I think there's an option there where you can actually select what country, so it kind of tailors it for you. Because you know, primarily in Canada, we don't need things like date of birth, your age, your local government, if you are married or not, your gender, all those things is not needed. So you don't find that in those kind of templates. So using a platform like Indeed to create a resume will actually help you. So that's another hack. So Olu wanted to say something. Sorry, Olu.
Okay.
I just wanted to also say that, you know, the resources are available. One other thing you can do is to go through the Career Advancement Center of Universities in Canada. You know, all universities in Canada have a career center. If you just do a Google search of, say, University of Calgary sample resume, it will take you directly to their career center. You'll see samples of Canadian standard resumes, cover letters for jobs, for admissions, for everything. These resources are already there. Yeah. Personally, I have posted samples of resumes from universities, from organizations, several times on my Twitter and my Instagram and all that. The information that one thing I've been telling people recently is that if something comes to your mind about Canadian immigration, do a Google search. You will likely find something that someone has said, and then you can now skip through and say, okay, which one is applicable to me directly. But yes, you can find that online. You can check today's page. You can check my page on my pinned tweet. I already have this there.
Olu, please say your Twitter handle and your Instagram handle for those who are listening and want to know.
My Twitter and Instagram handle is just Olufemi Loye, just the name you can see on display. You know, that's the Twitter, that's the Instagram handle. If you go to my Twitter on my pinned tweets, you'll find lots of resources about different pathways to Canada, about 50 of them that I've taken the time to, you know, outline and summarize for you. It doesn't get better than that.
Absolutely. I was laughing when Tunde said in his free time, he posted on Twitter, like, bro, that's a full-time job. Like the content of information that's out there, I don't know how that's happening in your free time.
That's a book.
That's full-time. That is full-time, really. Yeah, you guys do amazing, honestly. I just speak back on them, retweet what they write. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mrs. O, before we go on, can I saw a couple of questions in the chat.
Okay, go ahead.
One of them was talking about administrative jobs, if they need certifications in Saskatchewan. So no. Right. No, administration is not a regulated profession. You don't need a certification. However, if you don't have administrative experience and you're trying to switch into administration, then it's advisable that you get a diploma. And I highly recommend the administrative assistant diploma because I have taken that diploma and I understand why a person who has that diploma will always have an advantage over the one who doesn't. Because if the program is very curated to like the workplace, it's very hands-on, it's very precise for the office. There are some things that you will not know if you're not taught that. And if you can already go into the workplace with this information, it will help you hit the ground running a lot faster than somebody who doesn't have it. So it's not a deal breaker if you don't, but if you're switching careers from wherever you're coming from into administration, then it's advisable for you to take the diploma. There was another question that said you wanted to... Oh yeah, I think I answered that. If administrations need certifications, no, it doesn't. But if you're going to switch careers, then a diploma will most likely help you set you on the right path.
Okay, my babies are already out, so I'll be. I think that's it, right? Marina, you didn't mention your YouTube. I think somebody asked after your YouTube channel.
Yes, so I'm at Marina Esiri on YouTube. Just the name that's showing on the screen. If you search Marina Esiri, you see my troublemaker face there. Yeah.
All right. So,
hello. The real bosses have shown up.
Okay, so thank you so much. So I'll just be wrapping up the session so everybody continues with their protest. Today you're protesting, right? You guys are protesting.
Yeah, we're going to Eating Center right now. Yeah.
All right.
Wow.
Thank you so much, everyone, for coming. So I'll just end the live broadcast.
Thank you, everyone.